Okay, the roads in Florida can be a scary place, so let's be honest. And I hear all the time, and I'm sure you're with me, that a lot of drivers out there don't have car insurance. Well, if that's the case, maybe you need to look deeper into your policy. What are you covered for? What do you need to know about? And boy, Catherine Stone, our next guest here, when you open that insurance policy, there are a lot of words thrown around. There are a lot of categories floating around here that hopefully you can put a spotlight on. Catherine, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well. I mean, auto insurance, it might as well be a foreign language to me. I'm just going to say it, Catherine. I don't understand a lot of it. So kind of break it down for us because I feel
Well,
like there's a lot of myths out there.
and there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to auto insurance policies. And I get it all the time. Clients will come to me and say, I have full coverage. Well, 9 times out of 10, when they tell me they have full coverage, they don't have full coverage. And they don't really know what that means. And that's not really a technical term, full coverage. But, here's the way that someone should look at it is if you are involved in an auto accident, the first portion that's going to kick in, if you have insurance, because you have a vehicle that you have insured, you have protection, which is called PIP insurance, personal injury protection. And I know we've talked about this more in depth in other segments, but that covers you. Okay. The only time it would cover someone else is if you cause an accident to, let's say, a pedestrian who doesn't have auto insurance or doesn't live with someone who has auto insurance. They may be able to attach and utilize your PIP insurance. But generally speaking, PIP insurance is only for you, the person that has insured the vehicle or the insured parties under that policy. The next portion to your policy is going to be property damage, which we've talked about before, which is basically repairing vehicles. That is typically utilized in repairing the person who's not at fault insurance vehicle. So, for instance, if you caused an accident, your property damage would pay whatever the property damage limit is, which in Florida it's a minimum of 10,000. It can go all the way up to 300 or beyond. Then the next level of coverage is, let's say someone hits you, but they do not have insurance. Like you said, we hear it all the time that people are driving around the state of Florida with no insurance. Well, let's say you suffer bodily injury, okay? And that other driver either does not have insurance or they do not have enough bodily injury coverage to cover you. And bodily injury covers the person not at fault. Okay, and it covers their medical bills, their medical expenses, their lost wages, their pain and suffering. Okay, so if they don't have enough, or maybe they don't have any at all, then you would revert back and look at your policy to see, do I have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage? And it's often referred to as coverage. And that's oftentimes where a lot of times clients, when they come into me and say, I have full coverage, the first thing I look at is, well, do you have And 8 out of 10 times they don't. It's expensive to have, quite honestly, but that is a very important part, especially if you're driving around in the roads of Florida, or most anywhere really, but it seems like here especially, that you need to have insurance that covers yourself. So the bottom line is, I tell everyone, stop, look at your insurance policy. Do you have a checklist? Do you know what your insurance policy covers? Oftentimes you're just looking for the cheapest rate. We get that, we understand that, but also know what it does and does not cover.
I think this is so interesting because, again, you hear this no fault term thrown around, and sometimes that has such a negative connotation with it. But in reality, there are some ways that you can protect yourself in advance with these policies. But if you find yourself having questions or in a situation, Catherine, as you can tell, she is a wealth of information and is willing to help you. Get in touch with her and her team today. There's the phone number and there's the website. Again, Entry Florida Law Firm.